what is going on? What's going on? What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back. All right, what's going on? Ladies and gentlemen of Prestige, welcome back to the platform. Today we have another important topic, okay, that we're going to talk about. Please do me a favor, okay? Right now, do me a favor. Right now, all you have to do is hit that like button. Okay, just hit that like button and let's get it going. Okay, all you have to do is just donate your likes to those videos and we can get it going. All right, shout out to you. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right, today we're talking about MOWRY, okay, and a quote, a direct quote. I'm gonna play that video in a little bit here. A direct quote from her: "My marriage was a success." Some few episodes back, we covered this. Okay, we covered this, and she filed for divorce, right, after 14 years. While there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, first of all, we don't know what happened in that marriage, right? The truth is that we have some opinions, okay? And we've seen certain behaviors in recent times that were like, okay, all right, she's ready to get out here and have fun, okay? But it's also important that we come back to Men of Prestige and we'll point out some of those nuances, all right? And that's what we're here today. We're just here to dissect some, play some clips, react to them. We're going to be doing all of that within the Fair Use Act guidelines, okay? So let's get on going. Let's get started. Let's get to that really quickly. All right, awesome. So let's see. The first video I want to play today. I got a lot of videos that I want us to watch together today. The first video I want to play today is something that I already put on the shorts earlier. It's a video of myself, and I'm going to play it and I'll tell you where it came from, okay? And I think the video actually does justice of that. So let's get into it really quickly.
So someone said, female nature, a man will sacrifice his life for his family while a woman will sacrifice her family for her feelings. Well, since you refuse to receive wisdom, let me go ahead and help others. As a successful and married 43-year-old man, allow me, ladies, thanks for the advocacy, but the gentleman got this. A man will sacrifice his life for his family. A woman will sacrifice her life for her children. If we're going to generalize, I suggest manifesting best case scenario. Some modern men will sacrifice their family for a nut. Some modern women will sacrifice their family for their feelings. Panda bears and simps will sacrifice real conversations for super chats and generalizations. Please stop the cap already.
All right, great. I think that was self-explanatory. There's no need for me to go into it. It's basically checking people who have a tendency to generalize because they have their own personal agendas. I wanted to make sure I adjust that statement so that, again, you can learn from it. So let's get into it. The first official video today is the video topic of the day.
My marriage was a success. My marriage was a success.
Yeah.
I look at it as like a curriculum when you're in college or high school, right? You're learning, you're growing, you're evolving, you're creating. And I was able to create with Corey some beautiful, amazing children. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And at the end of that curriculum, and at the end, there's a graduation, there's a celebration. At it now. And I feel like people when they look at marriage, that success equals longevity. But no, at the end of the day, it's, are they happy?
All right. So did she see anything wrong? No, she didn't see anything wrong. She didn't see anything wrong at all, right? But there's more to right and wrong when it comes to these issues, as you know, right? There's more to, she's actively trying to justify. That's fine. It's only to be expected, okay? When people find themselves in this kind of predicament, they tend to want to justify themselves, right? The good news is that she's not pointing fingers, okay? Majority of people that go through this kind of experience will basically be pointing fingers at their husband, right? So let's get into it now. I want to call cap on a few things.
My marriage was a success. My marriage was a success.
Yeah.
I look at it as like
My marriage was a success. Now, here's what concerns me about that statement. I get it. It's some kind of affirmation. Like, what do I get from you feeling bad about a situation that's circumstantial? I don't get anything from it. Okay. And a lot of men and a lot of people with talking points don't realize we don't get anything from shaming people either. But that's fine, right? But then I have to push back on myself a little bit, right? If we're not willing to acknowledge when there's been some type of failure, right, in a marriage, how do we learn any lessons from the experience, right? I'm wondering. The lesson is it was a success. Now, from a selfish standpoint, if you're the person that went through it, right, I get it. If you're the person that went through it. But what about other people other people coming from before or after you, right? A lot of kids, your own kids, younger people that want to get into marriage because honestly, marriage is a fantastic institution. Let's not cap about that, right? Let's stop completely capping about that. If you can figure it out and you get it right, it's a fantastic institution. Whatever makes you struggle in marriage, you were probably going to struggle as a human being anyway, because it's relationships. You're going to have relationships. Let me just make sure that audio is working fine. All right, audio is good. Just want to make sure that the audio is good. All right. So if you're going to struggle in marriage, there's a good chance you are going to struggle as a single person, dating, relationship, marriage, of course, then divorce, right? You're probably still going to struggle, especially if you're having a hard time acknowledging and saying, hey, it failed. So are we allowed to say that the marriage failed? Can these two things be true at the same time? The marriage failed, it was a success. Can those two things be true at the same time? I say that all the time. Two things can in fact be true at the same time. But these particular two things right now, can they be true at the same time? My marriage failed, but it was a success. What? Help me. Someone help me, please, okay? Help me in the comment, in the chat. Can those two things be true at the same time, in your opinion? The marriage failed, the marriage was a success. Now, what is she trying to accomplish by saying that exactly? She's on a TV show. They're supposed to put their best foot forward. I get it. Presentation, packaging, right? So, for those of you that may not know who Tia and Tamara, I was about to say, Tia MOWRY she's one half of twin sister. And when I first came here, or I should say came back here in 98, right? There was no internet like you have it all over the place. There was no YouTube nowhere, right? Basically, all you could watch if you have a TV is whatever is being presented to you. In fact, I don't think there was on demand, right? You had to turn on live TV. Yes, here in America in 98, there was no on-demand TV shows. There were maybe some tertiary internet here and there, right? So one of the shows that would come on a lot, my favorite show at the time was right? Martin Lawrence and his gang, right? And then there was the Jamie Foxx show. Then you had Tia and Tamara. And then you had what you call it? What's her name? Ray J's sister, Brandy, right? Back then we used to call it Ray J, Brandy brother, right? Today is basically Ray J's sister, right? So Tia and Tamara was very popular back then. They made lots of money. Their show was very popular. Teenagers watched their shows. They were teenagers themselves. But anyway, yeah, that's Tia right there. Now they're like 42, 43 years old. Okay. I was 18 at the time, So this was a long time ago, but they've had TV shows since then. They've had talk shows and stuff like that. So she got married 14 years ago to this guy. 14 years later, they're calling it quits after 2 kids. So I'm gonna play that again.
My marriage was a success.
Yeah.
I look at it as like a curriculum when you're in college or high school, right? You're learning, you're growing, you're evolving, you're creating. And
What's going on, my brother? What's going on? Pastor Obi Odogu, thank you for stopping by, brother. Bhagavat, how you doing? Bhagavat, how are you? Yes, you are late comer, but let's keep going. I'm just getting started, So
success.
Yeah.
I look at it as like a curriculum when you're
she looks at marriage as a curriculum. When we were growing up in Yoruba land, they say ile oko, ile ekoni. That means your husband's house, I guess. Loose translation, right? Your husband's house is a house of lesson. So you go get married to get lessons. So she might have a point there. Let's see.
in college or high school, right? You're learning,
You do learn in marriage, okay? You do learn some things that I don't think parents are capable of teaching marriage. I think they try their best. Those that are aware enough, they try their best, but I don't think they're capable necessarily to teach. They speak here and there, they say 1 or 2 things here or there if you're able to pick them up, but to actually sit you down and teach you what you should expect in a marriage, I don't think they're capable. And don't forget that our parents, they were also growing up as they were raising us, for most of us, right? Unless you were raised by an elderly person, a 50, 60 years old person, like a grandparent or something like that. Our parents also, they were in their 30s. They were still trying to figure out life, right? So if you put things in perspective, maybe you two can come and say, maybe there's something I should learn. So she has a point there.
growing, you're evolving, you're creating. And I was able to create with Corey some beautiful, amazing children. And at the end of that curriculum, and at the end, there's a graduation, there's a celebration. So
there's a graduation, there's a celebration, justification in the mud. Hey, Jesus, bye-bye. This is bad. Can these 2 things be correct? My marriage failed. Can these 2 things be true at the same time? My marriage failed. My marriage is a success. That's the question I'm asking. Is that even possible? I failed school, but it was a success. Okay, so we already agreed, right? It was some kind of house of lessons, house of learning, earning, and building empires, right? But I failed, but it was a success. Oh, okay, I get it. Sometimes you could say, the experience was worth it, right? But you could say that without calling it a success. So we have people, we've allowed this kind of talking point for at least a decade, maybe 2 decades right now. Right? We've allowed people to talk like this, but we also notice something. It continues to deteriorate. The family structure continue to get discombobulated. Right? So at some point we got to start checking our talking points. Maybe it's not working because again, younger people are watching this and they're like, if you're gonna call that success, what's the point? I could just have success on my own, right? What is the value in marriage? You could just go do it for 14 years, come out of it and say, hey, it was success, even though you failed. These kids will actually ask you, they'll be like, what do you mean, right? Little kids will ask you that question, Let's see here.
that's basically, how I'm looking at it now. And I feel like people when they look at marriage, that success equals longevity. But no, at the end of the day, are they happy?
She has a point. On the success is not equals to longevity in marriage. Are they happy, right? Yeah. I don't know if I'm just gonna let her just pass like that. I don't know,
Stop the cap.
let's slow down all the way, right? We all of us in natural knee-jerk reaction when somebody say I've been married for 45 years, what do? Oh man, oh man, congratulations, right? Oh man, wow, that's 45 years, no beans, not beans. It's not longevity. Again, one of those things we like to tell ourselves, modern people, to make ourselves feel better.
Stop the cap.
Stop the cap. Longevity, success in marriage is also a function of longevity. I agree 100% that we should also ask the question, are you happy in it? Are you having a quality lifestyle in it? I agree 100%. But I think it's time we stop the cap on that. It's not longevity nonsense. Have you noticed that there's only people that cut it short somewhere that say things like that? People that still in it, they don't say things like that, right? Okay, let me give you an example. Let's say, God forbid, something happens to my 15 years marriage tomorrow, right? Right now, I'm not going to say it's not longevity. Tomorrow, I may just find it in my head to say it wasn't longevity. Let me justify the bullshit. Yeah.
Stop the cap.
Yeah. We got to start calling it out as what it is. Some things, not everything, because I'm not in support of anybody that just run their mouth. Right? Depends on what aspect. Yeah, if you can, there are many other sentences, statements you can make. You can say, listen, I learned a lot from that experience. It is what it is. It didn't work out. What's wrong with that? I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to. The manosphere may judge you, but I'm not going to judge you. Right? Why must you go the extra length? This is why we say when you accept a little weary, people take the weary to the next level. When you accept a little bit of, they will just like, oh, since we can just do anything anyhow we like, let's just turn around and call every 2 years failed marriage a success. Yeah, it sounds like a Nigerian insult. Your successful failure, right? Like, come on. Like, we gotta slow down, you know? We like speaking in oxymoron. It's not working out. The problem here is that we still want marriage. We all still want marriage. Let's stop the cap, okay? If you didn't want marriage, you wouldn't get into it, okay? If you didn't want marriage, you wouldn't be involved so much in the conversations about marriage. But you are involved in it because a part of you, like, you resent it. It's this one thing I can't, as a society, figure it out. But damn, we want it, right? You want companionship for a lifetime, and you would like to do it with the structure of whatever, social construct, political, government, signing the paper with the state, whatever, right? We live in a society. There are structures around how things work. There are institutions. It is what it is. And you can choose to not do that if you find somebody that allows you to do that. You can choose not to sign papers with the state. But you're not going to avoid the issues that we're talking about, which is learning how to maintain a long-term relationship in a healthy way, in an actual successful way, right? Now, people that come out of divorce, they didn't just fall out of the skies, I'm not happy any longer. It's because some things have transpired. And I want to give her that because we don't know what happened in that marriage. Only her knows why she decided to call it quits at some point. We've seen some examples because we covered this some months ago, you know? We covered this some months ago. But the truth is that there are nuances. We just don't know what happened there. The only thing is that why do we feel the need to come back and make up talking points to justify BS? Why are we doing that? What do we get out of that, right? Particularly, like, there's some things you can paste on your own fridge in your house to speak to yourself. Affirmation, if it makes you feel better, if it makes you feel wholesome, if it makes you heal faster. But when you have to come out and you have to continue, and we're hearing more of it. We hear less of successful situations, and we hear more of failed situations that we try to justify. But what we have is that we have people who are damaging people. We have people getting into situations and they're coming out with bad experience, and then they're getting damaged. And then we're also damaging people coming from after that, right? So we got to be careful. We got to be careful on this talking points, particularly the talking points. Because the young ones will ask you anyway. It's not making sense. There's no listen. Oh, it was a failure, but it was a success. Okay, all right. I'm good on that marriage stuff. And guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna end up sleeping with each other anyway because that's what human beings do. They're gonna end up having kids out of wedlock anyway because that's what human beings do, right? Majority of them, they're gonna get pregnant, right? And then we're going to have a bunch of kids with no household. Right? With no structure around their lifestyle, right? And then we're going to be like, oh yeah, it is what it is. You can't judge nobody. And the truth is that I don't support judging people too. But we have to, there's no extreme that's good in any of this. There's no extreme that's good in any of this. Anyway, let me see. Hey, Lady Navor, good to see you. Ice, where have you been? What's going on? She says, I disagree. Everyone wants love, not everyone wants marriage. I actually agree with that.
Well, you're right.
Yeah, context matters. Maybe I made a statement that made you feel like earlier. Rumors, another woman. All right. So, another woman. Oh, well, it's life, right? It's life. But yeah, I got a couple of videos I want to play. Before we move on here. There's a video from the sister. She has a carbon copy. Literally, I think there's like maybe one mark on their body or something like that. They're like literally identical to me, at least, right? And she has something to say because, as much as this could be the example we're looking for. Right? There's one person that says one thing, the other person says another thing. We're all just living life. We're all trying to be happy. That's all we're trying to do. We're just trying to be happy, right? Everyone. I don't care what somebody say. Oh, it's not about happiness. It's about duty, responsibility. Nonsense. We all want to be happy. We all like to feel good. All of us. Okay? At the end of the day, and when we don't feel good, we do wrong things. We start creating kind of caricature. We start creating fake lifestyles. We start creating fake talking points. But the reality is the reality. See, you can avoid reality all you want. You're not going to avoid the consequences of avoiding reality. Let's play this video from Tamara MOWRY.
For over a decade.
Wow.
Yes.
That deserves a hand. Yes.
And for me, staying happily married is having sex goals. And I don't think there's anything wrong with women, being vocal about it.
I love that.
Is she better? She's not better. She's just having a different experience. Right? She's having a different... That's all I want you to be aware about. She's just having a different experience. Same DNA, literally. Carbon copy DNA. Okay? Having a different experience. These interviews are literally 1 week apart. One person is like, oh yeah, shit just happened. Shit just hit the fan. But I'm going to need to justify this BS so I can feel good. And for whatever reason. What is wrong with coming out and saying it didn't work out? We're just going to co-parent. The first statement she made before, right? We're going to be happy. We're going to be friends. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with making a diplomatic statement for the public? What's wrong with that? You don't think we get it, that it's painful already to go through a divorce? We get it. My problem here is that, listen, you're teaching younger people coming, how do you say that? Coming behind you, you're teaching them that it's pointless to have family structure. It's indirect, but you are effectively doing that. The more you have more of these things, the more it is. And the thing is that relationships do fail, marriages do fail, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we want to be also honest with how that feels. What does that feel like? There's no one that feel good with failed marriages. Failed marriages is exactly what they are. There's no one that goes into a marriage, contrary to what a bunch of men online would say. No one goes into a marriage to say, I'm just going to destroy it tomorrow. That's not how that works. It's not worth anybody's time. But when it fails, right? We have more than enough authentic talking points to say it just didn't work out. You can say it just didn't work out in so many different ways. But to say a failed marriage is a success, You're confusing everyone. You're confusing the kids coming from behind you. And I don't think we need to be. We need to slow down on all these different woke talking points. We need to slow down, right? It didn't work out. You don't have to say no more than that. Anybody that has any experience, they know that if you've been married long enough, you know that there's been point 1 or 2 or 3 moments that you wanted to throw in the towel, and you know that partly you're lucky. You know that partly you worked on making sure you keep that baby together, right? Anyone that has any experience will tell you that. And some people can, some people can't, and it's okay, right? But I'm paying attention to all the celebrities when they come out and they justify and they start doing all these parties. I'll show you some examples in a second, and you'll see what I'm talking about. See, her own way is small. Our own weary is small, but there's somebody that's willing to take that weary, right? Madness is weary. If you don't understand what I'm saying, there's somebody willing to take that weary to the next level, and I'm going to show you some examples right now. Let's see. I says, yes, you did. I've been watching all channels from afar. Kind of busy, but I understand. I've been there. Yeah. Not how far, but how well. How far matters. You can't measure how well if you don't have enough alphas. People make this talking point in business all the time. It's not quantity, it's quality. Of course we know that we'd rather have quality. Of course we know that. But how the heck are you going to measure quality if you don't have enough samples? Even in statistics. It's one of those things, again, talking points that we like to say, it makes us feel better, but it's not reality. The reality is you have to go a certain length before you can measure and say, you know what, we're doing well. Right? When you multiply anything by 0, what is that? 0. So there's no quality without some type of quantity. Again, I understand it. I understand the talk is just hyperbole, whatever, right? But at some point, we're pushing it. We're pushing it. People will go in and do 36 months and say, yeah, I was happy. We saw this afternoon, I played back a video for you, Mr. Ibu's daughter, who was basically justifying, what was it, 2 months? No, don't go into marriage if you're not ready for a lifetime commitment. You are creating more damages for yourself and other people that are watching, because you don't just go there and come out empty-handed. You don't go there and come out wholesome. Something will tamper. There's a reason why you're leaving. Something will tamper with your spirit, with your ability to maintain relationship, your ability to trust. If something happened, that's why you're leaving. So you're not just coming out and saying, oh yeah, it was success. No, there's an emotional damage that happened. We really have to slow down on that. Listen, I'm the one that says, get married, okay? But I'm also telling you that commitment was a thing. There was commitment. The reason for commitment is saying, commitment, okay, George Zalocki, I learned it from George Zalocki some 12 years ago. Commitment is saying you will do something, and then you do it long after the mood that you set it in has left you. So yesterday you said you would do something, but today I don't feel like doing it anymore. But because it was a commitment, precisely because it was a commitment, I'm going to do it. Right? So we're making talking point on both extremes. Some people say, oh, women just will basically choose their feelings over their family. That's an extreme, because there are many women that are sacrificing for their children, just like men will sacrifice, just like a honorable man will sacrifice for his family. But we have people generalizing BS, okay, and say women are just living because of their feelings. That's not true. That's some women. You're generalizing and you're creating more damages. But for you too, that you go to the other extreme and you call a failed marriage success, you're also creating damages. We can just be humans again. Like, listen, we have some failures, we have success. It's okay. Right? Oh my God. Yeah, thank you so much, Lady Navarre. Hit that like button. Thank you. Hit that like button. Exactly. People follow like a schedule, but not really ready for marriage. Yes, that's a part of it. But there's a reason why there was commitment, because it's almost like you will never be ready for marriage. right? You will never really be ready, but you can be ready, right? Again, if you notice my talking points, they usually is not extreme of any type. It's not absolute of any type. Tomo debati loko, o man fun loko ni. O man loko. Tomo debati near that. When a child is ready to walk, they start walking. The more they know, the less likely they will walk. Okay, at least they will need professional help. So it's not necessarily smart to say, hey, that baby is okay. Once it's 7 years old, she's not walking yet, it's okay. No, it's not okay. It's time to seek professional. Oh, she's not talking yet at 7. No, it's time to seek professional help. There's time. Time is the most valuable thing in the world. There's nothing that's much more valuable than time. What are we talking about? So it doesn't matter what time. No, we keep saying that. No, it does matter what time. However, on the other end, right? People need to be prepared. Prepared for what? Commitment, crisis handling, conflict handling, right? Those are things you can go through a 90 days boot camp and learn a little bit, because you can never learn it all, right? But you'll be prepared for going into life, for doing life, right? But we know so much these days, everyone is scared. Fear is taking over the place of faith. That's not necessarily a good thing. I guess fear can be good sometimes, so you can protect yourself. But sometimes you protect yourself, you encapsulate yourself in a castle that will fall over and kill you inside. There's balance that's needed. There's an equilibrium that needs to kind of like balance out in the human experience. Extremes are not good for the human experience. They actually don't exist. Eventually, last, you know, when they say last, everybody go chop breakfast. Equilibrium must happen. Either you want it or not. You might just be a casualty. Something we should just pay attention to, you know. Shout out to Ice Ice. Ice Ice, I miss you. Seriously. But anyway, let me play. So this is one person.
Wow.
Yes.
I think that deserves a hand.
She's not better.
Yes.
And for me, staying happily married is having sex goals. And I don't think there's anything wrong with women, you know, being vocal about it.
I love that. Don't forget to subscribe to the Jennifer.
Now let me play. I think I have another video here. I hope so. Let me see. Let me see what video this is. Let's see.
I'm not here. Let me.
Go ahead, sorry.
I'm not gonna be here and like.
And that's
marriage is work.
it
I'm
is.
not here. Let me.
Go ahead, sorry.
I'm not gonna be here and like, you know, everything is, bro. You have to work hard, you know, to.
And that's
marriage is work.
So that was the moment that we caught. I was like, okay, this is how you treat your wife. But there was just a moment. I've had moments like that where I was moody, or you know, I just like, and she's had moments like that too. We can't really use that moment to judge. I'm just saying, if you do enough of this, you shut down your wife. Oh yeah, she's gonna get into a stage where she feels shut down. She doesn't feel seen, and she doesn't feel like she has a say in a relationship, and she's gonna feel some type of way. Eventually, she may get to a place where they are right now. It is what it is. Some people can handle more, some people can handle less. Everybody's threshold is different. We can't judge her for filing a divorce. The only thing I want is that when we have failure, I want us to extract the lessons properly for people that are coming behind. Right? Because ideally, we want less and less of that. We don't want that to continue to perpetuate and continue to roll out in a viral way. We're seeing viral rates of this thing, and people are celebrating it. You know, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, yes God. No, you do that yes God to yourself at home. You should feel good about yourself. You should at some point, but can we find a balance? All I'm asking for is a balance. I don't want anybody coming from a divorce to feel bad or terrible. That's not my intentions here. What I'm saying is that we're pushing a narrative here that's actually creating, like, every solution would naturally create problems. But at what point is it creating more problem that can drown all of us, right? That's all I'm asking, you know. But yes, if you look at this behavior right here, if you do enough of this, you know, you can see that she felt embarrassed that this was on national TV.
I'm not here. Let me.
Go ahead, sorry.
I'm not gonna be here and like, you know, everything is, bro. You have to work hard, you know, to.
And that's
Marriage is work.
it
I'm not
is.
here.
Go ahead, sorry.
I'm not gonna be here like, everything.
She said, "Go ahead, sorry." Yeah, she was definitely embarrassed. You create enough embarrassment for her, yeah, she's going to quote unquote find herself outside of that marriage, you know. So, gentlemen, as much as I'm saying here, just understand that there's only so much certain type of people can take, and you never see it coming. If you see it coming, it won't hurt so bad, right? You never see it coming. That's why when you go in that relationship, or any type of relationship for that matter, you go there to give. Why? Why are you talking about just give and give? Because listen, you go to a farm to go and sow, okay, and then you wait for a season and then you reap. There's no reaping without sowing. Why are we so focused on give and take? This is one of the problems. Everyone have unrealistic expectations. Everyone before they get into the relationship, they start measuring how much am I gonna get back. Somebody said it's natural, but isn't it supposed to be give and take? Really? Is that how life works? Life actually doesn't work like that. You just understand how life works. You go and you give your all, because you already understand that if you give your all, you're going to receive, not take. Take is aggressive, especially if you're measuring it before you start giving. Mindset wise, don't overthink what I just said. I'm saying as a form of mindset. Get into a relationship that you feel comfortable, you feel safe, you already feel good just by the simple idea of getting into it, and you give. You focus on giving. If you can't give, you move on to the next person that you feel like giving to, because that's literally what you do anyway. When you find somebody you fall in love, you just give to them, and then later on, after they hurt you, you come back and see they hurt you, and you never expected it because you were busy giving. Well, because you've been hurt, now you feel like you should measure give and take. Actually, no. Still no. Faith is always much more powerful than fear. Anyway, let's keep going. Why? Because you can't see. You can't see past your nose. It doesn't matter how much you try. Okay, you can't see the full thing. You can see small if you calm down. Maybe if you calm down, that means you have to feel safe and secure. And calm down small. Let me try and see my nose. Right? No matter how much you try, you're trying to protect yourself, but you end up hurting yourself. Am I asking you to just jump into stuff? No, I'm saying sometimes in life, I'm saying most of the success stories you know in life, somebody took a leap of faith. How are you going to take a leap of faith if you're trying to learn everything there is to learn in about 10 lifetimes of what marriage is? How are you going to take a leap of faith? It's complicated. I know. Let's watch this one.
They married young. They had kids young. Kids took over their entire lives. Okay, you know what happens? You know, when the children enter, you forget about yourself. Okay, you pretend to put on for a man because you want a family. All right, I'm talking to Miss Tia. And now that she's hit the gracious age of 40, she's done. She woke up sad like Jada Pinkett. Okay.
She woke up sad like Jada Pinkett. That did happen to Jada Pinkett. It happens to a lot of listen, I don't like absolutes. Okay, I really want to say 100%, but I'm going to say most. Okay, it will happen to most women that get married. Oh, let me see what Ice is saying here. She says, let me see. She said, I'm seeing something here. Also, most early marriage face the challenge of growth. All marriages will face it. I don't care if you get married at 60. You will face the challenge of growth. You're starting at ground zero like everybody else. If couple don't grow or only one grow, wahala. This is I want to say all marriages, but let me just give the room for exception, okay? Most marriages, doesn't matter what age, you're coming into doing life with another human being, a whole God, spirit. They're bringing all their generation and ancestors into that household. This is every marriage will go through this. There's no avoiding it. Oh, okay, so let's just avoid marriage then. Okay, guess what? In your own life, you will face crisis that you never expected. You never expected it. Again, you're trying to avoid your shadow, basically. Instead of trying to avoid your shadow, Put all that energy in becoming a better person every day. Becoming a better person. If you're becoming a better person every day, it's only a matter of time because somebody generally want to do that life with you. So it's a matter of, are you ready? Are you willing to take a leap of faith or not? Or you're focused on looking for red flags. And if you're looking for red, you will see red. I guaranteed. If all you're doing is looking for red, you will see red. Okay? I can see like 2 reds right now in this room. Okay? Just by saying red. Okay? Am I saying don't pay attention to red flag? I'm just saying let's be guarded. Let's be guided, because all extremes are just as bad. Let me look at your comments. Let me pardon my misbehavior. Let me just look at what you ladies and gentlemen are saying. Exactly, people fall, okay. But heal first. Heal yourself during that storm. So when you do decide divorce, you won't be so damaged. Every broken relationship comes with at least a little damage. Why? Because there's a reason why you broke up. Somebody betrayed some kind of trust. You're a human being. Yeah, listen, you're going to want to protect yourself. Wanting to protect yourself can translate, as good as that sounds, can translate to building walls around yourself. You have that much disability to be vulnerable. You can't have a good relationship if you're not vulnerable to a certain extent. You have to kind of trust, okay? Or else the other person will kind of feel some type of way. It's not going to be fun. Oh, you don't go into it to look for fun. Cap. You want to feel good. It's pointless doing life with somebody that you're not feeling good inside, okay? Isaiah says, also, we already talked about that. People don't watch educative videos about marriages, instead watch skits and music. Exactly. And that's the reason why I kind of use trendy topics. I use a little bit of skits here and there, and then I talk in between because people don't want to watch. You're absolutely correct. They don't. It's not entertaining. The same reason for what I just said. People just want to feel good. I can't judge people for being people. I can't stand when people judge people for being people. People like being entertained. It is what it is. If you're not entertaining, don't blame the people. The people are exactly what they are, right? They like to be entertained. If we start fighting both bars here right now, you will see this room will be packed. It is what it is. Okay? Yeah, I have my suspicion about them, which they don't want to spill. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. It must be, that's why I got to keep up with the chats. 12 likes, 15 in the chat. It says 100% of us hit that. Please, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. True, we all have, and all of us have unrealistic expectations. That's why I always ask, manage it. Manage it. We all, that's why we get our trust betrayed, right? And by the way, having your trust betrayed is part of life lessons, not part of success, okay? Actually, it becomes success is a function of all of that, but it's not just success, okay? You get what I'm saying, Oyade, hey, how you doing? Victoria, how are you doing? Marriage and birth rates are plummeting across the globe, particularly Europe, North America, and parts of Asia. Sociologists and psychologists are doing academic research on the causes. I'll be interested in seeing anything like that. Yeah, but it's making sense to me. It's making sense to me because you have a lot of people, they listen to enough tier. MOWRY says a 14 years discombobulated marriage success. These kids are like, makes no sense. They're much more inclined to pay attention to pragmatic stuff. So if you say anything that's not adding up very quickly, they're like, what are you talking about? That don't make any sense. Did you sign up to 14 years? Or this is just you? Does he subscribe? Actually, that was one of the points I made. Does he subscribe to this 14 years curriculum that you graduate at 14 years? Or you by yourself decided that at 14 years, it's a wrap? Or wait, that wasn't the topic. He's been treating you badly. He doesn't listen to you. He never listens to what you have to say. He just does what and you've been complaining about this for 5 years, okay? Maybe he's a cheater, right? Oh, we're just going to avoid all of that and just say, oh, yeah, it's just a success. No. No. So it makes sense to me that marriage rates, birth rates, people said, oh, divorce rate is lower. And somebody said, no, it's because people are not getting married. Context, right? People want to find themselves after and wasting time and take too long to move on to someone else and be for them, right? Yeah, they want to find themselves suddenly. But hey, I'm not knocking it. Again, the men have to pay attention. That's what I've been doing on this channel for 1 year. They have to pay attention. Women are exactly that, women. Okay? If she doesn't feel safe and secure, all better off. She will come out of the marriage and say marriage is a success. Okay? Like this young lady right here, she's one of the finest of human beings that you can have. And still, she had to come out of a marriage and say marriage is a success when the marriage literally failed. Right? So, gentlemen, oh, but what are we going to do about this modern women? Nothing. You're a modern man. In fact, it's precisely one of the reasons why these marriages are failing, because our forefathers, they knew how to keep the home together in spite of a woman being a woman. Right? In fact, they had a few of them in the household as wives, and they still managed to keep those homes together. Yes, with fight, war, tooth and nails, right? It wasn't easy too, right? But my point is that clearly, we're in a different generation and we need to figure something out. And no, you're not going to put that responsibility on women and children. It just doesn't make any sense. Because you're the leader, right, in that hierarchy, right? It doesn't make any sense to put that responsibility back on the children or the women when you are part of the context of what we're talking about. It's failing. The leadership take responsibility, not the same thing as fault, not the same thing as blame. You take responsibility and say something is off. What is it that we need to figure out? Oh, we should just tell them to stay in the house. Oh yeah, you see how that's working out for you? Right? Back in the days, you used to be the one to bring all the money. Financial protection, what do you call it? Protection, what's the other word that they all throw around? Protection or providing. They don't need your money anymore. They don't need your money anymore. They need something else. Okay? They need to feel safe, secure, particularly emotionally. If that's not happening, you will become a curry addict. Inevitably. And yes, you will be dragged through these courts. Because once you have a little disagreement, the lawyers will say, let me help you. And there are more than enough lawyers around the corner that will help you. You drag yourself through the courts and everybody will be angry at each other. The society, gender wars on social media, right? Who's going to take responsibility for that? Women? Really? How's that working out for you? Okay, good. Let's keep going. That's why you heal yourself during the storm. Okay, we already went through that. So when you leave, you forgive, no malice in the heart. And well, people leave because they're indirectly saying it's the other person's fault. Okay, I'm not talking about extreme situations. Okay, I'm talking about we have a disagreement. I've been speaking for 5 years, but at the end of the day, it's a function of your unrealistic expectation of the other person. The person was exactly who you married for the most part. Some people do evolve and change into weird ways, but that person was that same person. It's just now, see finish, don't enter, right? You're taking them for granted. You're taking yourself for granted. You're not self-sustainable as a person in the first place. You're not able to tap into what made you seduce him in the first place. You figured out to seduce him into marrying you. But now you've lost that touch, right? And you can't, seduction, what the heck? No, we need to hold people responsible. We need to hold them accountable, right? And like, no, you need to get out of my face right now. That's why you're broke. You shame each other. Can it be a failure and a success at the same time? Oh yeah, you came late. I asked that same question. Nobody answered me, right? Can we say this marriage failed and it's a success at the same time? Can those two things be true? I even made sure that I didn't make any statement. I didn't make my opinion on that. I was just asking. I'm still asking. Can that be true? This marriage failed. God damn it, it failed, right? But my marriage was a success. Curriculum. It was a 14 years curriculum. And the kid's like, nigga. The kid's like, yeah, mommy, we want you to be happy too, but why? Right? Why? Right? And you're all in this whole thing you made up for yourself. You made it up all by yourself, for yourself, because you needed to feel good. I understand. It's tough. It's a tough thing on. I can only imagine, but it's tough on a man when your marriage fails. Have you seen Choreotic lately? He's trying to do live streams. He's trying to keep it together. Bro, the worst thing you can do to a man is to pull out the rug from under him. When he was like, oh, I'll get to it, babe. Okay, my Bino, I'm sorry. And then you keep doing that. You say, I'm sorry a few times. You said it about 15 times, about 15,000 times per year in the last 15 years. And she's like, I'm done. And you're like, just like that? Men never see it coming. I don't care who you are. Men just don't. They're not capable of seeing it coming, because if they were, they will fix it, right? They don't. So when they get hit with the news, what happens? They go on Google. How do I get my wife back? What happened? They stumble into Coach Greg and freaking Coach Greg and the Manosphere, and then they continue to hate women. It just gets worse. For the most of them, there are a few success stories that get through the rage, but for the most of them, they don't make it. They're just angry. The worst thing you can do to a man is to pull the rug from under them. But who am I to tell a woman to keep staying in the situation that she feels like, quote unquote, I don't know what that feels like, but they all say the same thing. I feel like I lost myself. Right? Look, can you imagine losing yourself? You're hearing voices in your head and you're like, can you imagine not feeling your own skin? Gentlemen. So even though we're not women, we may want to start listening. Okay? Because at the end of the day, one of the things that makes you a man or make you feel like a man is you got married and you're able to keep your home together. You do 5 years, you're like, I've done 5 years as a man, right? And then you have people like Ice and will come back and say, it's not longevity. It's quality. And you're like, I've been married for 7 years. And she's like, I want divorce. It's been 35 years, but I've lost myself. Empty nesters. You ever heard of those before? Oh yeah, they exist. So it's time we start paying attention. Ladies, it's still that when you divorce, do you want to end up saying a failed marriage is a success? Work on your marriage. But how do I work on a marriage when the man is not being a man? Go to individual counseling first. Okay, as soon as you can. You don't have to drag him to it. Just go. There may be one or two things you can learn about seduction, right? Maybe it's a lost cause. But again, can you at least put some effort into that? Oh no, but I keep asking him for counseling and he never wanted to go. Well, most men will not want to go because they can't see what they can't see. Does that mean you're not going to lose if you lose that marriage? Listen, you can tell yourself it's a success all you want. The reality is the reality. You can avoid the reality all you want. You can't avoid the consequences of avoiding reality. You will cry. You will come out in the public on TV show and say success, and then you will go back to bed and you will cry. And you will cry. And you will cry every night. You ever been as you look at your kids, the last thing you want to do to your kids is break their home apart or have them being dropped off from places to places. Right? Oh, we need to talk. Shout out to you, bro. It's a C finish, not bastard. C finish will destroy everything. You take each other for granted. It's a natural thing. But when you're aware, it's half the battle won. Right? It will happen to every single one of you. It doesn't matter, if you marry early or marry at 60. Okay? After a few days, it becomes the same thing. You start to feel stale. You agree to remarry the same person you divorced? That happens as well. Yeah, speaking of, I have a video I'm going to play here because I want to keep this about 1 hour because we just went over. I have this video. I had a ton of video that I wanted to play, but we're just going to push that over to, let me find this video from Mattel. of Love and Marriage, Mattel of Love and Marriage. Let me find it. I'll find it. 1 second. Give me a second. Yeah, it's this video that I feel like I can make some point out of that. Because one of the things that people fear the most. Okay, I gotta play this one. But there's one more here. That's not the one. Let's see this one right here. Okay, all right. So speaking of, can people come back together? Yes, absolutely. My wife actually filed for divorce before we pull it back together. Okay, so I'm speaking from experience when it comes to that. And I know stories of people that divorced for 5 years and they end up coming back together. So that goes to, should people stay in bad situation? Okay, there are two ends of the, like, if you feel like you're being taken for granted and it's affecting you mentally, only you can determine that. No one can tell you that's not an abuse. Okay, no one can tell you that. But if you really feel like you're losing yourself, if that's a thing for you and you feel like you're losing the essence of life, absolutely don't be scared of leaving. Okay, don't be scared of leaving, because if you're so scared of leaving, maybe it's not even worth it in the first place. That means you're not even, the idea of you're scared of leaving, you have this fear of leaving the marriage. Nothing good is going to come out of that either. Okay, but let me, since you asked that question, let me play this video from Mattel.
I would love for my kids to be hopeful, because at the end of the day, Melly or myself, we don't know where God will lead us in the future. You know, we can only hope for the best, and whatever the best is, allow it to take place, you know? To be real, we don't know if we would ever get back together. I would love for my kids to be hopeful, because at the end of...
If you go into Lola and Ola is about 3 years old. The channel, Lola and Ola, you can link it from the home. I hate predicting bad things, okay? But I can see these things coming because I've been there, okay? I predicted that this guy was going to lose his marriage. The same way I predicted that Kanye West is going to lose $1.5 billion in a day, right? It all goes back to this part right here, okay? This thing's right here, okay? Number 3 and 4, okay? Especially number 4, pride. Pride will... You're in a romantic relationship, but you're busy saying, I'm right. That's pride. You're focused on, you're right. You are definitely going to be right. You know, that part.
You're right.
I just cut myself up. I cut myself right. You're going to be right, right? If you're laser focused, obsessed with being right, and, yeah, you're going to lose your marriage, especially in the middle of crisis, because you can't hear the unknowns. There's so many unknowns in that space, and you can't hear it when you're obsessed with being right, because you're so convinced you're right, and you're probably right, and nonetheless you're going to lose your family. And that's exactly what happened to this guy. But the bond between them, if he happens to fall in that category of a miracle, if he can, it's going to be tough. It's difficult, bro. Because again, I know I'm right. You want me to back off that I'm right? Like, no, she's evil, man. Right? And it's temporary. I'm asking it temporarily so you can hear, people can feel heard, and maybe you can, you know, allow things to reset. But people are just not capable of doing that. It's a very difficult thing to do, to ask people to do. But it happens. It happens, you know. You know, when people say you die to self, people think it's a joke. Religious people always think that's a joke. Your faith will be tested. Okay? You want to come into a marriage, I don't care how much you prepare for it. Your faith will be tested. Okay? I used to say, because I've always been an entrepreneur, I used to say, entrepreneur will test your faith. When my own hit me, right? I'm like, bro, this is another level. Because imagine all of that faith, and, you know, because you put a lot of faith into doing things. Like, for example, working on this channel for the past 1 year, and we still got 13 people. It takes a lot of faith to keep coming back, right? But, bro, when your emotions are encountered, and your children, and you're looking at your children playing around like this, watch this.
In the future, you know? We can only hope for the best.
You watch your children playing around like this, and your wife comes to you and say, I'm done. And you're supposed to pretend like you haven't been right in what you've been trying to say. so you can, so she can feel heard, right? Especially if you find yourself in a manosphere, everyone is about to call you a simp for listening to a woman, as an active listening, not just listening to repeat stupid talking points, right? And you are caught up in your emotions too. You don't see, you're like, oh yeah, it's fact over logic and feelings. You're like, no, nigga, you're emotional, right? And you're deceiving yourself like everybody else. You're effectively in your feminine energy, and you're confused. Everything, your faith will be tested. I digress, you know. So it's possible, but it will take a lot of work. Take a lot of work. But if you get into a place where you've hit rock bottom, it feels like it's easier, but you've hit rock bottom. I don't know if you know what that means. You failed in every sense. You're done. You're like, you're drained, right? Maybe at that point, if she's still available, if you're still available, because this is an active marketplace. People that are authentic, valuable people will get scooped off the market like that. Like that. He's already dating people. She's dating people. She's having fellatios from men, stuff. God, oh God. All these thoughts, right? So, hey, you know, this is life, you know. So it's possible. It's possible. Let me play one last video of just a few years ago from Tia and Corey. You know, sadly, they're in this space right now. But if you have life, you have everything. He could get her back. Is he capable of getting her back? I don't know. It's going to take a lot of, you know, a lot of what's required of you as a man in the first place. Being able to die for your family, die to self, die to your own emotions. It's temporary because you will have your way. But can you really get through that temporary space? It's a lot of work. Or you rather just run for the hills right? And hope that something else is better on the other side. You know, somebody says it's a gamble. Well, the kind of work you do is actually you never miss out on it. Even if she never comes back to you, that work you do on yourself, you can't lose, because you will find it useful in so many other areas of life. Being able to stay calm, assess situation, don't get caught up in your emotions, and have other people bow to you just because you have self-control, right? It's hard. It's not easy.
Yes. I mean, we're not like super religious, but I just keep it. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that. This was just a few years back. They're asking them, do you pray together? Do you pray together? Sahil, I see your comments. I'm going to come right to it.
Yes. I mean, we're not like super religious, but I just keep it simple and just believe, you know, words are powerful and you can speak things over people's lives. And I speak positivity and just good things over my family.
Always.
So.
Corey is a man of faith and a man of God. He'll put something on the board and he'll say, Tia, I know that that's going to come to pass. And I'm like, this dude is crazy. Like, what is he talking? But for real, then it comes to pass. And not only that, he taught me how to believe in myself. I don't know, I'm about to cry. More than I believe in myself. He's like my biggest supporter, so.
Don't cry.
You're my biggest fan. Sorry. I don't know why. I didn't mean to cry.
That marriage is over for now, okay? It is what it is. It is what it is. Sahil says, Hola de Nostradamus. Cario. Indeed, the family is considered last. The kids involved are affected. Absolutely. Nonetheless, you know, the kids need to see healthy relationships ultimately. So, unless they're actually going to do work, I would never ask them to get back together just for the sake of the kids. Absolutely not. But the kids can be an important factor in you deciding to work on yourself so you can bring your marriage together in a healthy way. Okay? And Sahil says, sir, he should not work on getting her back. Yeah, that's not the purpose. The work is not to get her back. The side effect, or I should say, the potential byproduct of working on yourself is being able to put your family back together. Absolutely. If you in fact make it the focus, you will lose focus. I don't know if what I just said just make any sense. I'm not sure. If you make the idea of getting your ex or your wife back the focus of the work you're doing on yourself, it will fail. It's not sustainable. Okay? It's a bad idea. But it can be a byproduct of working on yourself if you in fact know what that means. Usually that's not something you can do on your own. It requires a coach, counseling, therapy, potentially, because you're who you are. You created the result you got. So if you were capable of doing that, you would have done it in the first place. For most people, you're going to need a support system, a professional, ideally at least on a spiritual level, right? So I agree with you on that, Sahil. But yeah, it's sad to see this happening, but a lot of time it's for the good of everyone. I think people like to say this too. They usually justify BS sometimes. They like to say, God knows best, it is well. And it's their escapism from actually doing the work that's needed. Listen, you can quit that marriage. If you don't do that work, you go so far. You really think your marriage is all that's involved in this? It's not just your marriage. Everything is involved. Everything. Every aspect of life. You're not escaping just because you escape the marriage. No. You will suffer. It will show up in other ways. It's like your shadow. Everywhere you turn, there you are again. There you are. Again. Everywhere you turn, there's a big beam of light shining on you at every point in time. But from that other spot, it's coming, and then the shadow is right there. And then when you try to run away from it, it's right there. There's no talking point that's going to save you. There's no talking point that's going to save you. I'm sorry. Temporarily, yes, it may make you feel better. Temporarily, feel good about yourself. Yeah, I said that. Yeah, I'm a winner anyway. All right. Reality will tell us. Your results will tell us. We tell you. Time, the ultimate, we tell. Undefeated. Biraban Lolo Godu. One day. I had a lot of videos today, but this was a good one. Shout out to you, Lady Navor. It was more than enough material to cover the time that we have. But yes, we'll be back here not tomorrow, okay? Not tomorrow, because I'll be hanging out on the panel tomorrow. But we'll be back here on Monday, So do me a favor on your way out. Just help me hit that like button. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Grab the link to this video and share with other people may be interested in what we're talking about. It wasn't about Tia, she's a celebrity. It was about the rest of us. Okay, it's not. You could have been divorced. You still have relationships. The same principles applies. Every single one of your relationships, even including the relationships you're going to have with your kids, with your siblings, all these people, right? If you're obsessed with being right, you're going to end up being wrong. I'm sorry. Okay? I know it sounds deep and shit, but it's not really that deep. You just look around you. You can see people are creating terrible results all over the place. Yeah. So, yes, I will be with Sahil tomorrow. Definitely. All right, so shout out to you if you hang out with me, all 17 of you that came by today. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. You're helping me do this work. We will continue to do the work. I'll see you on Monday, or I will see you at Sahil's platform tomorrow. Check him out, Sahil Speaks Network. We'll be hanging out there tomorrow. Okay. Hopefully you've been enlightened and educated, and I'll see you on the next one. And peace.